would have voted. Would you say the healing process in your party in Lagos is fast enough?
Very well. That will not debar you from still trying to approach the court, especially when you feel that you have a case. But talking about the healing process with respect to the Lagos State governorship primary, the leaders in Lagos have been working day and night, and they have been pacifying those who feel they are aggrieved, especially because this is not a matter per se, that's the way it's been described. What we have in Lagos, aftermath of the governorship primary, is something that should ordinarily not happen, because the issue came about as a result of clerical error. And on my honor, and I'm being honest here, let anybody come out and prove that, first, the number of delegates sent from the National Secretariat was not the number that was not up to the number that voted. Because what happened was that there was accreditation on 3 occasions. Before you enter the main gate, inside the main gate, you were accredited the second time and then given the tag. And then inside the hall, people were counted and we deliberately left a row each for the local government area. So you knew yourselves. And so what happened was that as at the time the chairman of the panel was going to make his opening speech, he was given this number, 806, which he used to make the speech. And then the leftover was now added in the course of the...
Where did the leftover come from?
Exactly. We had 30 ad hoc delegates, those voted for 3 per local government, that were not added from Ikeja. We had 6 statutory delegates from Ojo. We had 8 from Mushin. We had 7 from Ikeja. So if you add all this up, it makes up for the 58. Now, you see, the issue here is that in sincerity, was there an announcement of that, especially to the agents and the aspirants? The aspirants, the agents...
Before the counting or after the counting?
Before the counting, as the process was going on. Not only that, I can tell you that I was not just a delegate that was in the hall. I also participated because I was also coordinating the press. And deliberately, to forestall this type of issue, I had at least 67 press journalists. In fact, channels was almost a live thing, streaming almost.
It was live.
Live, good. And STV was also streaming. So, and then the stage that would have even been skipped if it was actually a deliberate effort to, rig anybody out, was the stage of counting the whole number of votes cast. And that stage was not skipped. And that was the moment that people saw that the number was more than the number announced. But the chairman had announced to the agents and the aspirants knew that, yes. But then they said, okay, don't worry, we will take the final number of votes cast as the actual voters. You know? So, but we see, but what I think is happening is that we should try as much as possible to know that it is not all the time that the process will favor.
In essence, you are implying that Senator Obanikoro was informed before the election started that it is now a reviewed number of over 800, over and above the number that was announced by the chairman. He was aware of that. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying emphatically, and because we have even published this, it's a public document now, the report of the panel is saying that they announced to the aspirants and the agents that they had discovered 58 delegates left out of the total number they had announced. So it was an agreement amongst them all that, okay, let the process go on. And indeed, it was so very open that I remember a particular aspirant, my very good friend, was actually like the CID there. And each time he saw anything that would go wrong, he would stand up and he will mention, and then that thing will be corrected. How would we not be able to identify just 800 and less than 900 delegates? We know ourselves. So it is not really true, because why I'm saying this is that everybody come and say
but before we even ask him, the question was, the healing process, according to Ken here, is started in Delta. The healing process, has it started at all?
I've just said
Lagos?
it. I said day and night.
But Senator Obanikoro is already in
you
court.
You won't debar him. That's why I use the word. You won't debar if he has decided to go all out. Yeah. You understand? But we will continue to pacify, to advise. Especially everything we do in politics is futuristic. If you take it too far, people will wait for you at another point in time. Because you see, this is my own opinion now, and with due regards to him, if by faith he is not going to be governor of Lagos State, it doesn't mean that he cannot be president of Nigeria. But at the same time, what I feel is that he's angry now. He wants to vent the anger. Maybe he doesn't have enough time yet, but I think that time should also not be too long, so that people will not misconstrue what actually he is fighting for. Because if he is convinced, if he thinks that yes, he was rigged, contrary to what I feel, then let him vent his anger. But the message should not also be sent that this man wants to make it a do or die thing. And I don't think that.
Mr. Okechukwu, you're smiling, and I'm wondering that the PDP already picked holes in the process that brought about the presidential, vice presidential candidates of your party. What is it that you wanted to say about what?
No. What I'm smiling is that when we took off in February 2013 to merge the Action Congress of Nigeria, the All Nigerian People's Party, the CPC, a faction of DPP and a faction of ABGA, we had in mind that PDP for a long time had taken Nigerians and the Nigerian democracy for a ride, that they kind of concerned everything to family affairs. And they have failed to understand that the core ingredient of democracy is participation and freedom of choice. And when we merged, we said we must avoid the pitfalls of the PDP. He's talking about 800 and something delegates, but we are talking about 7,000 to 6,000 delegates that conducted a transparent primaries.
But you didn't need 7,000 to pick the vice president.
No. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, my sister. We are saying, in the public law of everybody, the APC started from the ward level to elect, not what Kenny was saying of consensus. No. We elected delegates. We call them local government delegates at the ward level. And they came to the local government and elected 3 of those delegates to be national delegates. So it's not a question of consensus. It's a question of election at their various units. And then, as Gani said, there's also statutory delegates. That is to say, the executive of the party that we also elected, and those holding, like senators, members of the House of Representatives, governors, statutory delegates. So we did not mince words of having anybody at the end of the day. We had an idea of who are the delegates of the APC before we came to Lagos. And luckily for us, the world watched us conduct a transparent, credible, and fair presidential primaries that have become a benchmark for future presidential primaries in the country. As to the vice presidential nomination, I do not know what the hues and cries about, because from 2002, I have been with General Muhammad Buhari. When we finished the primaries in the MPP then, he chose late Dr. Chibok Kadibo, former Senate President. And there was hues and cries that he didn't consult well. How can General just pick Okadibo? Yes, Okadibo is qualified, but he didn't consult us. He went out of his way to do so. We came to 2007. When we finished, he told the party to give him 3 names. And they gave him 3 names, and he chose the then chairman of the party, late Honorable Edwin Umezuoke.